Recently, I had the pleasure of making connections between formers, friends, family, and food, providing a fun footprint to follow into the future. You see, I got to be with a friend in Mother Nature who goes all the way back to my college years. We dined al fresco at the State Botanical Gardens on a picnic table that was in the sun and in the shade. We shared our life's essence and took photographs of each other in the garden, remembering friends and family along the way. My children spent time with me, giving me the chance to answer questions about some of the decisions I made once Newsom and I got married. We focused on the year 1986, for that year was wrought with major decisions. Like what, you ask? Well, we called 1986 the year from hell. In 1984, we got married. Then I buckled down to finish my master's in secondary science in 1985 at Mercer. Then I began teaching 9th and 10th grade physical science at Northeast Comprehensive High School in Macon. Newsom was working all the while at the Walter F. George School of Law. That first year teaching, I struggled with everything. I'm talking about audio-visual equipment, the copy machines, typewriters, mimeographs, you name it. And then I failed the first TPAI, that stands for Teacher Performance Assessment Instrument. But one of my biggest problems was deciding when and how to take sick days. I also struggled with disciplining students. I had to deal with an administrative turnover, and I had to learn how to live with a law student. Early in 1986, before my 25th birthday, our dear friend Cheryl Baker called us in the wee hours, panicked, because she found her roommate dead on the bed in her apartment. It was an apparent suicide, but I went to school that Monday. Big mistake. Big. Huge, as Julia Roberts would say in Pretty Woman. Well, my colleagues found a sub for me and sent me home to recover from the shock. Later in January, we watched the Challenger explosion on TV, and again, our housemates on College Avenue came together to try and understand the magnitude of that disaster. On April 26th, again, we watched in horror the meltdown of Chernobyl. We began to consider our own sources of power and how to be more cognizant of our choices. Personally, that's when I began to incorporate David Attenborough's teachings into my lifestyle. In late May, early June, Newsom's family rented a big old house on Tybee Island for the week. Soon after we got there, Newsom and Mr. Frank left to go buy beer and wine, while Miss Jo, Bada, and I reclined on the screened-in porch. Well, the rotary phone rang. Miss Jo answered, immediately turned pale, and asked, "Is he dead?" I leapt to her side, jumping to a multitude of erroneous conclusions. Turns out, Catherine, David, and Mackenzie had been hit head-on by an uninsured motorist coming onto the island. After that week, Newsom and I moved from College Avenue in Macon to Emory Oaks Way in Decatur. I interviewed for a teaching position at Crabapple Middle School, and then I drove back to Savannah to be with Catherine for a week in the hospital. I'm telling you, it was the year from hell. Until, I started teaching 6th grade science at Crabapple. Science was considered an exploratory subject, and I taught 6 classes in 6 different classrooms. I felt like 6th Dinner Sid, the cat that lived on Pythagoras Way. At least that first year at Crabapple, I didn't have all that homeroom duty stuff. But, funny story about taking days off. Being closer to my mother meant doing more with my mother. We were paying $500 a month to live in their condo in Decatur, near Athens Pizza and Rainbow Grocery, and Newsom was working doing closings at McCurdy Candler in downtown Decatur. I was driving 45 minutes to Roswell to teach at CMS. Well, my mama called and wanted to take me Christmas shopping at Lenox. I decided to get a sub for Wednesday, November the 19th, and take my first sick day. I met her around 10 o'clock at the Neiman Marcus shoe department and talked her into a pair of pink fuzzy princess slippers. And she bought me an acid-washed jeans and jacket ensemble. Very fashionable at the time. Everybody was wearing acid wash, you know. The very next day, I wore that outfit to work. Doris Robertson, my number 1 administrator, greeted me in the front office as I signed in. She casually commented as she dressed me down, "What a nice Jeans Day outfit you are wearing." I blushed sheepishly and said, "Thanks, my mama bought it for me yesterday." I was anxious to wear it, knowing full well it wasn't Jeans Day. She added, "Oh, so that's why you missed our faculty meeting yesterday." Busted! For the 8 years I taught at Crabapple, which was a national school of excellence, I learned the value of be-positive criticism and the value of accumulating sick days. These pictures reflect some of the personal things going on in my life between 1986 and 1996. In my next photo story, I will share what I taught at Crabapple Middle School for you.